3, 2, 1, go. I'm Pat.
Hey, I'm Jeffrey.
Get his coffee before bed.
Yeah, and we are talking about people or things or places or circumstances that are running out of chances.
Ethnicities, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, when you say that,
Now let's talk about the Broncos first, man.
okay, now I wasn't watching that, so you said there was dick stepping, and I want to know
The
why.
Broncos stepped on their own dick in the last minute of the game. So I was confused as fuck because not only do we have a Wilson, but they have a Wilson, and they have a Wilson who throws the ball to another Wilson. So it was constantly Wilson to the catcher, Wilson, completes
yeah,
16.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway, so I'm not too familiar with the Jets. So
Nor am I.
they kept saying Wilson throws. I was like, what the fuck, dude? How do we get the ball back? But it was the other guy. So, but anyway, and William probably attest to this. So the game opened pretty good. It wasn't bad. Broncos, I think, scored twice before the Jets scored on them. And then the middle 2 quarters sucked. So, because basically the Broncos made themselves look stupid again and let the Jets get ahead of them. And then it was the 4th quarter. Suddenly, how that happens. I was playing Starfield tonight. So,
Yeah,
but anyway.
exactly, yeah.
So I was more listening to the game than watching it. That's why I was bitching about the Wilson thing. So, but anyway, so the Broncos get within 3, finally. All right. So and there was a safety in the beginning, so it was weird. There was actually a 2-point differential for a while. So they got a decent touchdown. They made the 2. After a penalty call, initially they lost the 2. So, but then there was a penalty during it, so they half the distance to the goal. Here, putting about the inch-yard line. And they were able to pound that one in. And so now they're within 3, and they're driving. And so the Jets really fucked up a couple times to make it look like, okay, this was stupid, street ball or whatever. They couldn't get the ball spiked before.
Oh, yeah.
They couldn't get it spiked before the half, okay, when they were on the 8-yard line. So, yeah, it was like, are you fucking serious? You could have hung up another, touchdown on it.
Yeah.
So or at least spike it and kick the field goal, whatever. So, but anyway, so they were looking pretty bad. But the Broncos just couldn't capitalize on it. And so finally, it's 4th quarter, they got within 3. Okay, and then they got a nice interception and then marched it all the way down to the other end of the field. Well, not that far, but close. We're gonna win, or at least gonna tie it. And this was 40 seconds left in the game, and then fucking Russell Wilson gets the ball punched out of him. So from underneath his arm, and then this dude scoops it up. Runs it all the way to the other end.
Is that how that scored?
That's exactly how that happened, man. Yeah. So, I'm sitting there. I'm actually watching this play. And so I see this guy come around behind him, literally punch the ball out from underneath his elbow. Okay. And so it squirts out in front of him right at this guy. It looked like he was going to make it to the sideline. Okay. Mm-hmm. But no, there's this dude who did a 180 and then just scooped it up and bam, he was gonzo. So, and it was like, that figures.
Yeah.
So we went down to the Jets. So, and I was watching the 49ers and the Cowboys, the 49ers and the Cowboys before I came over here. Do their classic, I don't know. You score, I score, I fuck up, you score, I score, yeah, fuck up, you fuck, you always see with those games. So anyway, so I was watching football today.
It's NFC trash, dude. I don't pay it no mind.
Hey man, it's on. So
no, I get it.
That's how I'm at with football. So I don't have the red zone, or any of that shit, and so, but I do notice on Sundays I get a continuous flow of games. So, but I don't get to pick which ones they are unless it's early, 11 o'clock. Then there's 2 of them. So,
dude, that's fine. That's kind of, how it used to be. That's sort of, I gotta say, this is back when this was sort of, I don't want to say marquee viewing or water cooler talk, something where it was, you had, we talked about this. We talked about, basically
What spelled running? ruining now.
You know, busted arm, man. Now it's
It kind of works though.
yeah. You know, games used to have kind of like a cultural significance, like the for sure, like the Monday night game was something everybody could talk about on Tuesday morning. Right?
Yeah, well, and Thursday night too, same thing. So
well, eventually, but I mean, like even by then, the
when
shit
did
had
they
been kind of
start
splintered out. Whenever the NFL Network came out, was when they started doing Thursday night games.
It's been a while because I remember talking about Thursday night games at work.
No, I get that, but compared to like what Monday Night Football used to be, yeah, it was a little bit
with Howard Cosell.
Yeah,
so I remember that. Holy shit!
Well, that would have been the very.
This was like the late '80s, so
that would have been like the tail end, man. Because
I do remember that though. So because my dad loved that dude. And so, yeah, my house was like on Sunday. Well, yeah, I mean, it wasn't just the accent either. So, but yeah, Monday Night Football was always a thing at our house. So,
yeah.
And then it was John Madden after that, wasn't it?
No, it was, for the longest time, it was Frank and Alan Dan.
Yeah, you're right. Yep. Yeah, John Madden was in the rotation, regular rotation. So you'd see him pop up every now and then in other places.
Well, he was on Fox for a long time. Man.
Yeah, but he would change games though. He wasn't just that always like the Monday night guy. So yeah.
Well, he wasn't the Monday night guy.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah. That wasn't his deal. Yeah, because I think he wouldn't fly.
No, he had a bus.
Yeah,
famously had this big old bus. So
I don't remember what his fucking problem was, but he just.
Hey man, some people are like that. Yeah. I won't go on the ocean, so I understand.
You've been on the ocean.
I being on the ocean's fine. So actually, in the ocean freaks me the fuck out.
Personally?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, you put me on a boat, I'm fine.
Okay, I was I've been with you on the ocean.
Yeah. No, that's fine. So I do not swim in the ocean.
Totally fine.
Yeah. So it's full of things that bite and sting.
Well, all right. I'm gonna say this too. I'll cop to this. I wouldn't feel at this point. I wouldn't feel confident swimming in the ocean at all. It's like, all right, I can swim okay, but it takes way more effort for me than the average person. And I would definitely feel uncomfortable knowing that the edge of the pool was, essentially away.
Right. Yeah. I haven't been swimming in a while. So.
No, not since I left the gym. Not since I left, that gym.
That gym?
Yeah. I've been a member of many smaller, crummier gyms, but...
Yeah, didn't you go? You used to go at like 3 o'clock in the morning?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was the best. Yeah. Nobody bothers you at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right, yeah.
And if they do, you're right to feel suspicious. It's the same. It's that ignorant ass fucking drive-through theory that I always have. It's like, oh, okay, so let me get this straight. So there are 24 hours in a day with a shitload of minutes in between them, and you decide at this particular time, at this particular point in the evening, that you're gonna come to my gym at the same time I'm here.
Yeah, you're all gonna get in my Taco Bell at 11:15.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I'd never go. I wouldn't go to Taco Bell at 11:35, right, lunchtime. No, that would be ridiculous. I would expect there to be a line. That would be like going to the gym at 5 o'clock.
Taco Bell's weird though, man. So like whenever I've gone during the day, it's like so in and out. It's not even funny. So it's. Yeah, it's the times where it's like, oh, it's 9:30, and I'm done drinking at the bar. Let's go.
Oh yeah.
And now it's like, fuck, where'd all these cars come from? Why did they have the same idea that I did?
Agreed. Yeah. So
it just kind of makes sense though at 9:30 at night after the game ends.
Okay, I get that. Because I've kind of flipped over here. I think I have sort of, flipped over to nights to early mornings, and I'm okay with that. It's a little bit more consistent for me here, but yeah. So if I'm, if it's 2:15 in the morning and I say it's like, oh, I'm gonna go to McDonald's, right? It always pisses me off when I see
yeah.
people there at 2:15 in the morning.
Again, are there still 24-hour McDonald's?
Yeah, right down there.
Is that one still open 24 hours? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought they stopped that. So, although that one's corporate, isn't it? Yeah, I think that one is. That's a corporate store. The one over there on Constitution. Yeah, that one's corporate. Yep. I had a student once who worked there, and she told me that. So that it was the only corporate store in town. So, except for the ones in the Walmarts. So those are corporate too. So they're not owned by a franchisee.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I have no idea. Well, and I think the rest of them they're free to set their own hours.
They're all owned by the same guy.
Yeah.
In this town, they're all owned by the same dude. So except for that one and the ones in the Walmarts. So she told me.
What was dating a girl that had some insight into that? So I can ask her.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you did mention that once.
Yeah. We'll put a pin on that.
Put a pin on that.
And ask William about it.
So, well, he might be listening, man. He's probably working tonight. So.
Yeah, but we're not going.
Oh, that's right. We're not live.
Yeah.
Yeah. But.
No, I will ask William about McDonald's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll get you an answer.
I don't really need it. I'll take it though. So yeah.
I wrote it down.
You wrote it down.
So I'm gonna ask William about McDonald's.
Yeah. So
I have to do that lately. I've had a hard time just remembering just my list of things to do.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's an age thing or a disorganized thing. I don't know. It's lately I've had to take more extensive notes to make sure things get done in the day.
That for me, that's contingent on how many things are actually going on at once.
How many? So, yeah. So realistically, for you, okay. So this was a business thing. Can't remember who said this, but it was a genius thing. He was talking about. I think this was Todd McFarlane. I think he was talking about how things went up for him and things went down for him. He said, like, there's some important things I learned about my life. He said, a juggler can juggle, right? Mm-hmm. If you can do 3 balls, that's fine. Okay? If you can do 4 balls, you can also do 3 balls, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. All right? But if you can't juggle 5, the whole thing falls apart. Mm-hmm. And he said that the important thing was, for him, was to learn that how many things can you juggle at one time without it falling apart? And I guess that's my question. Like, if I go back to times, asking you about times like when you were stressed with stuff or too many things going on, like, how many things can you handle concurrently without it starting to fall apart?
So, like, big major things, or like,
what you would consider a ball.
Okay, right. So absolutely, positively, the worst time of my life was probably 2018. So
okay, that's very specific. Why?
Yeah, well, my dad had just died. I was trying to get my mom settled. My wife was going through breast cancer.
Yeah,
my daughter was like struggling with homework. I was working on my dissertation. I was trying to get my job. Like I had just gone. Let's see, how long have I been there? I've been there a while now. So I think I had maybe been full time for only a year. At that point in time. And so I was still teaching a pretty heavy load. And so that one, I was done. That's when my yard died. So, we got new cats. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Was that around 2018?
They're 5 now, so yeah.
Okay, so right around 5. Okay.
Yeah. See, it's weird. These are the only pets that I've ever had where I actually have their fucking birthday. So.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
Oh.
So it's in April. And it's got the year and everything in it. So, yeah.
I don't know Kinsashas, so...
like my previous 2 cats, I had no fucking clue. So.
Well, so since I don't know, I just pick one day of the year, call it her birthday, and we eat cake together.
We eat cake. Cake eaters. So anyway, that was way too many balls. That's where a lot of things started falling apart. That's where I started drinking really heavily. I quit going to the gym that year. There was a lot of shit that I just could not keep up with, man. So yeah, and so that one was the worst. It got a little bit better over the next couple of years, but it was still like those were balls that I couldn't put down.
Most of them, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, unless I quit my fucking job.
Well, like you said, like you talked about the yard. It's
shit, man! Nothing got done in my house that year. Yeah, no, there was like nothing. I mean, I had like all this money stashed away for projects and stuff, and no, spent it all. So on other shit, mostly beer. So yeah, and then well, not all. Yeah, there was a couple other things we did that year too. So, but yeah, no, it's just way too much shit. And so, yeah, like right now I'm about where I want to be. So, I'm good with about 3. I'm good holding down, like, it's nice that I've got some of my hobbies back. So,
right.
Yeah, because working on a PhD does a remarkably good job of murdering all your hobbies. So, because if you sit there and you're like, I'd like to play Starfield, but I really should work on this shit. So, and then the problem with it is, like, I did it right at the end, where it's like, I just pounded it out in, like, 7-8 weeks. I should have done that a long time ago. Because what would happen was I'd work on it here, I'd work on it there, and then I'd think about it a bit, and then I'd change my mind. And then I'd have to redo shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, or I'd have to, like, I don't remember this, and I'd have to go back and read all the shit again. So just actually kind of staying in the zone with that was a lot better. So...
Yeah.
So yeah, now like that's the maximum amount of shit that I can do. So like right now, this whole thing with my mom, okay, fine, that's a ball. My job, it's got a lot more. It's a lot more involving than it was last year, but it's all pretty easy stuff, and it's stuff that I can do on my time. So
let me take one of the current things that's happened to you right now and sort of take it back. If you'd done that to your arm in 2018.
I would have cut it off, man. I'd be like, fuck it. I don't have time to deal with this. Give me my saw.
I was going to say, is that something that would just, like, literally slow you down? Like, you couldn't deal with everything that was going on?
Well, and the hard thing about it is, like, so I was telling you before we started, now that I got this thing unclicked and I can actually swing it up, so...
Yeah, you're doing that with...
I'm not supposed to, but it is getting stronger.
But you're doing it.
Yeah, but anyway.
Shit, that's great to see.
It is, but I still can't bend it further than that, so...
Give it time. But the fact that you're doing that with the muscle's power is...
That's not actually your bicep that does that. So...
right here?
That's back here. So, yeah, when you actually do curls... So your bicep is just reinforcing it. It's actually your back. So they explain that all to me. I don't know.
Well, you can isolate it out depending on how you, like, put it. Obviously, I don't want you to do this. But, I mean, yeah, this is...
No. But the one function that your bicep controls exclusively is pronation and supination.
Yeah, that's true.
So that...
And still don't do that?
No. No. Getting there, man. That's the exercise that hurts. So okay. I do that. I do 4 sets of 20 of that a day. So
okay.
And then after that, I got to lay down for a little bit. So, but yeah, no, like if like
good on you for doing it though.
Oh yeah, no, man, I don't fuck around. The doctor tells me to do something, I do it. So, but this the thing that would suck about this, if this had happened back then, was I wouldn't be getting any sleep. And so the last, like, 4 weeks, the first 2 weeks, I couldn't sleep without taking the, what did they give? They gave me Oxycontin. So, oxycodone. I don't know if that's the same thing. It's like the lighter one. It's not the, like...
but that doesn't go up. You haven't stepped over to Roxy's yet.
No. I don't. What's a Roxy?
That's a step up from.
Is that a Percocet or something? I don't know.
I don't know where Percocet.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's in there. I know if you take 20 of those, they'll make you sick.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know the street names for like what a Roxy is. So.
No, Roxy is Roxycodone. That's like that's the next.
Okay.
Step
No. They did not give me that. So they gave me oxycodone, which I gotta be blunt with you. The only thing that it would do was make me drowsy. So it did not make me feel euphoric. I don't react very well to those kinds of drugs anyway.
They make you kind of nauseous.
Oh, fuck yeah. So yeah, they gave me these little tiny pills that you're supposed to just stick on your tongue and dissolve. That actually makes the nausea go away, but then they make you, like, you get rocket shits later. So it does make the nausea go away, but oh man,
Everything comes at a price, bro.
there's no
free lunches.
So that's why I stopped taking those after a little while. But anyway, that's the only way I could sleep. And then finally, I was able to get back into bed because I was sleeping in a recliner for the first 2 fucking.
That's what I thought you would do. Yeah,
I hate that. I hate sleeping in a recliner.
That's what my dad did when he had cancer.
God damn, I fucking hate it so much.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I hate it so much. Why did your dad have to sleep in a recliner?
Because his lung was fucked up. Because you got to remember, so his basically like if he laid down fully, that would hurt his
I gotcha.
lung like crazy. So he slept in the recliner for 6 months.
Oh fuck, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Like
I guess he was okay with it. Like, all right, this is a weird thing. All right, and I'm just gonna break this down as best as I can. Like, this is. You are what your generation needs you to be, right? There's a certain like there's a toughness to my pop, right? And your pop, right? With, Mr. Two fucking gimped out knees for all those years and shit, right? Where you and I would look at this kind of thing and we'd be like, I don't want to feel like this, or I have to do something about this, or whatever, right? But there's a certain amount of just fuck it, I'll deal with it. That goes to the generation before me, that I don't quite have. Yeah, I can deal with a lot of stress and pain and all that other stuff, but there's always going to be the point of like, do I have to?
It's a good thing that you don't feel that way.
Right. Yeah. Right. But for them, it's something that they needed to go through. And
it's also the thing that murdered my dad. So
you think?
Yeah. No, it absolutely fucking murdered him. So,
yeah.
Because it's like, oh, it'll go away. It'll go away.
Of course.
It'll go away.
Of course.
Yeah. So
I mean, my dad was kind of like done for, but then again, this goes back way before then. It's like, why were you guys spraying around asbestos like this, right?
Oh shit! Yeah, I remember that. And then I remember when that was going on. I was working at the airport at that time. Still, actually, were you still working at the airport when that happened? I don't think so.
What? Which thing?
When your dad died.
It was 2000. So
maybe. Yeah, you might have been.
No, I hadn't. I'd moved on since then.
Oh, okay. So, I just remember looking at all the pipes in the bag room downstairs, and they're all sprayed down with asbestos. Of course. Yeah, it was just, well, I mean, so I asked Tom about that once. He's like, no, that's not actually asbestos, but it's like, basically this insulating foam that hardens, and just fireproofs it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. No, I got you there. Well, again, that's then. Take it back even 10 years. Take it back 15 years. And it would have been sprayed with asbestos, right?
Yeah, in the 80s, yeah.
I mean, shit, I like, how many times, there were a lot of, like, schools around here where it's like, why do they just have an extra week off right now?
Oh,
like,
asbestos.
Because they have to remove this shit, right? So
that is so expensive too. It's insane. In fact, like D11 knocked down 2 schools rather than actually like rehab them because it was so expensive.
Well, especially too, you have that in your pocket to be able to turn around and say like, you can actually build a new flagship school here, right? So I don't want to say that you're lucky, but it's a perfect opportunity because I know that they're like that, but. You take that same sort of thing. Like, I guarantee that those idiots that were doing that, including my dad, were kind of like, as you can put the mask on, it's I guarantee it. I guarantee there was a part of that, right?
Yeah, probably. I mean, but I don't know. So, like, my dad was a little bit different. He was always really religious about using his ear protection. So, at the airport. So
you know why? Because he probably fucked up his ears back in the day.
Actually, he could hear pretty good, man. I think his like experience was more so that like some of his friends couldn't hear anymore. Okay, and so but like I mean, he was always good about that, even back in like when he was in Vietnam type era stuff in the Philippines. So he always told me, he was like, "Yeah, never neglect your ears." So I was like, "Okay." So.
Your dad seems like the type to wear gloves and...
He always wore gloves and knee pads. So.
Gloves and goggles when he was using a saw.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
His goggles were a little bit different. No, he didn't use gloves when he was using a saw. But his goggles were different because he had like those jewelers ones. So they had the eyepieces on them that you can kind of,
yeah.
So, but they did have the safety sides and
go.
stuff like, and they had the string and or the neck loop and stuff. But even like, if he was just sawing his garage, he always put his ears in. So every time. So
like I said, I know that's something that for me, it's like, I can put up with this for a certain amount of time, but that was Dad is like, sleep on the
recliner.
Sleep on the recliner, it's fine.
I think if I had to do it for like that long, I'd probably get a little bit more used to it. But like the first like week where you sleep okay, like the first night or so, and it's like by the third night, it's like my tailbone really hurts.
Something
I can't roll over on my side on this fucking thing. My body does not bend like that. This is a hinge joint, not a pivot joint.
Dude, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
So there was, and so it just got a little bit old. So, and then, but I guess if I had to do it for a little while, I would probably set myself up a little bit different then. So, rather than just grabbing like the fucking blanket out of the closet kind of thing.
Yeah, well, and the other thing too is if I were subjected to that too, I'd be like, well, hey, why don't we, especially like with the medical plan that he was on, because he was taken care of all the way through. That must have been TRICARE or something. I don't remember.
It was.
But,
my dad had the same thing.
Yeah.
My mom has it right now.
Yeah. Where it's just kind of like, send us the bill. We're not going to fight you on it.
Yeah.
I would have, I would have looked at it and said, like, are there any, like, medical recliners or things like that for people in my situation? That
Maybe.
I'm sure there was.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was. It's the same thing, like, we were talking about, like, with my mother and, like, her mobility issues. Like, well, if you get dizzy, it's like, tell you what, I'll go ahead and, get together with Will and why don't I get you one of those like mobility scooters? She's like, well, I can get one for free. I'm like,
oh yeah, Social Security you can get one, or I mean Medicare gives you one of those.
I was like,
rascals. So
yeah, like if you're nervous about going like a far distance and you think you're gonna fall over, shit, just ride the thing. Mm-hmm. She's like, I can get one of those for free. I'm like,
yeah, you can
do that.
Yeah. So I wonder if my mom's gonna need one of those. I doubt it. So. My mom's house is very small, so
right, and she stays to the.
Oh, we're gonna have new rules in her house, yeah. So you're not allowed to go down these stairs anymore. I don't care if your basement's on fire; you just need to leave. You're not allowed to go downstairs to your basement anymore.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah. So, I'd forgotten about those. So that's a good point. So. I bet you my mom would like one of those. I don't know if she would actually, come to think of it or not. No. So I think she's planning on using a walker still. So.
Yeah, that's we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
just like I know you'll figure it out.
But, oh yeah.
Yeah, when I brought that up, she's like, well, I can get one for free. And same thing with like the car thing. Evidently, they have tons of services that will take her anywhere that she wants for free.
Yeah, so there's this thing called MedRide. I've looked into it. So, and the Department of Defense has its own version of that too.
Okay.
Or the veteran at the VA. So.
Oh yeah.
So, which your mom probably doesn't want to deal with, but because apparently the VA is what socialist medicine would look like in the United States. So,
I've dealt with them, bro.
Yeah.
I've dealt with them.
My dad was religious about not doing anything through the VA if he could avoid it. So, but anyway, so she wait a minute, where was I going with that?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
We were talking about mobility and riding around the little scooter.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you can. Oh, MedRide. Yeah. So no. So there's like basically a Medicare Uber that you can use. So and especially if you're going to go somewhere at a certain point in time, you just schedule
exactly.
it.
Yeah.
So that far out, and so I was telling Mom about that the other day because I was looking at it. So for her, because she's done driving, she'll never drive again. So
see, and that's where I had to straighten things out with Mom. That's where face that reckoning. I was like, all right, well, does driving matter so much as driving being something symbolic to you? right? Where, yeah, I can understand this, where you look at driving, you say that this is a symbol of not being boxed in or freedom or something like that. And if that's the case, I said, then, work your little butt off and go ahead and pass that test.
Yeah.
They haven't precluded you from that. If it's not a big deal, then who gives a fuck?
Yeah,
and just,
cares.
let these guys tote you around. It's, in hindsight, man, I think that's actually a really cool service, and that's actually a cool job that it opens up for people is, people need to get around, you take care of them,
Yeah, don't tell your mom this, but a lot of the people who drive for those are actually on work release from prisons.
That's their problem.
No, they're the good guys. They're trying to do right. And so yeah, it's one of those jobs where you actually have to like, have kind of like a track record with other things. So, but anyway, don't ask me how I know that. So
how do you know that?
I learned it through school a while ago. Yeah, when I was doing some work with prison system down there. So, that might not be true here in this town. So it might be more true in that other one. So, I don't know. So, but yeah, I was telling Mom about...
I presume that everybody has something of a criminal record there.
In Portland?
Yeah.
So...
Fucking third world shithole.
Is it still bad?
It's a Democrat city, Patrick.
Well, so is Denver. Denver's not bad. So...
Yeah, but this is the mecca for Pacific Northwest homelessness.
Yeah.
I will say that when I was there, all right.
Well, you went there during George Floyd, so yeah.
It was post George Floyd, but there were quite a bit of there was a lot of murals there. But that being said, yeah, it's a very pretty place, but there's just like a lot of like you see those tents everywhere, dude.
That's gross.
That's a problem.
Yeah, there's a couple spots in Denver that are like that. We got spots like that here in town too, though. So, in fact, I was driving back up I-25 the other day, so from down south, and there was a fire truck. You know where the Drake plant is, the big power plant, and then it's got the river, the Fountain Creek that runs around it. And then there's this part there where there's this big wide sidewalk. It never occurred to me why the sidewalk was so wide. It's so they can get a fire truck in there.
Oh, okay.
So putting out homeless campfires, man. So yeah, right in the middle of the day. This is like 2:00 in the afternoon. Yeah. So just try and power wash the homeless off the creek. So,
it's gotta go. This is something that
this town is weird, man. We actually have more shelter beds than we actually have transient homeless.
Right.
In this town. So, well, like a lot of towns, Denver's like that too. So, but they all have rules, no pets, no drugs. So that excludes just about everybody. So, yeah.
I'm fine with pets and drugs, but you need to be doing those in the comfort of your own home, and that's the problem.
That's fine. Yeah. So not a taxpayer funded home either.
That is correct.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So not one that you got by robbing a liquor store either.
That's correct. You can't do that. You can't do that at Walmart. You can't do that at Jiffy Lube. You can't do that in a public school. You can't do that in a park. Right. Those are my rules.
Yeah.
I get it. Again, as I spoke before, it is a complex problem with complex solutions, and me just throwing simplistic platitudes at it is not something that would solve it.
No, but I mean, the solution is actually pretty straightforward. So,
bring back institutions. Yes.
Yeah. So, they shouldn't be actually roaming the streets. So, I'm wondering if there are states out there that still have mandatory institutionalization and whether or not they actually see the same problems. I don't know the answer to that. So,
not to my knowledge.
Yeah, that's my knowledge either, because my understanding was most of that shit got tossed out in the 60s and the 70s thanks to, like, not just national legislation, but also some court cases. I'm not too up to speed on the whole thing, though. But I know that there was, like, a cycle of abuse that was going on.
Well, and that's the problem, because, I mean, you can actually trace the national attitude of that via film.
Oh, right? With One Flew Over the Cuckoo's
Nest? No, seriously, that's the
with Nurse Ratched. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is the tricky part of this is, yeah, there was a big motion on this. Of course, this is something that like, oh, Reagan did this. Like, no, Reagan did not do this. So, dude, it's not.
Reagan did a lot of stupid things. That was not one of them. No.
Did some stupid things. Did some awesome things. Like any president typically would.
Yeah.
Unless, with some presidents, they do neither because they disappear. Right? That's happened. We've had plenty of presidents that you didn't do anything awesome or terrible. You just disappeared. Yeah. Right? But yeah, this was the thing of like, Reagan. So I was like, no, man. Everybody wanted these things dissolved because they saw these as fucking like torture chambers.
Yeah. Well, and there was like this thing about like due process and stuff where they could just basically keep you locked up forever.
Yes.
So yeah, I can't remember, but I seem to recall when I was teaching law at one point in time that we came across a Supreme Court case that was in moot court like that. I can't remember though.
No, they have basically like 72-hour holds and things like that that they can do.
Yeah.
Where yes, you'll be assessed on this, and that's sort of the due process part that yes, you are supposed to have. And if you're going to do this, then of course look at this in a rational way and think about what's best for the person, think about what's best for society, and make changes as appropriate, right? But this is what would you do, Patrick? What would you do if you were in a bigger city and like your kids were walking to school past this shit? What would you do?
I'd move. Yeah,
so that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like, no, you wouldn't be okay with that.
No, absolutely not. No, I'm done. So yeah, if my city goes to shit, I'll move. So
okay,
yeah, no problem. Yeah. I'll vote with my feet. I do that with like retail establishments as well. So
who's the last guy that got the axe from you?
The last place that got an axe from me?
Who's the last guy that got an axe from you?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that. It's been a while since I was just like ragingly mad at a company or a service or something.
Well, ragingly mad is not.
I mean, there's a lot of places that I won't go back to just because it's like, their food sucks or
that's different. That's the service is poor. You're talking about something that ideologically you don't support.
What, a company?
Yeah,
I don't give two fucks about their ideology. Do you sell me good shit? Okay. Yeah, I mean, I had a My Pillow for a while. It was fine. So, I mean, and that guy's a fascist. That's fine. Yeah, ideology does not bother me when it comes to companies. So, I mean, I'd eat Mark's O's if they were tasty.
You would not.
I would totally eat them.
Not. No, so... okay, because think about this. Every box of Mark's O's, where would the proceeds be going to? You know it would not be going to.
Okay, so it goes to the IWW, whatever. I don't give a shit. So, are they tasty? So... my purchasing a box of Mark's O's is not going to actually
you couldn't do it. You couldn't do it. And not to mention, of course, fucking Mark's O's would not taste good in the first place.
Well, I'm skeptical. So, but I'd still try them. I'd buy a box. So yeah.
You would not. No, you would not. You would not eat a box of cereal where the people control the means of production. You would not.
I'd try one. So I'd buy a box. I'd buy a box.
Yeah, that shit would not find a place in my.
I don't. Yeah, I know, but yeah, you're a little bit more ideologically driven in your purchases. So,
dude, if I saw a fucking hammer and sickle on my canned raviolis, that would not be coming in my house.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so they're still selling me food in a capitalist society. So I mean, it's just a symbol. It's just a little ink. You know? So
You're so full of shit. You would not. Okay, you're telling me that you would buy a cereal with a fucking swastika on it.
I don't know about that, man. So yeah, that's a good point. That one might be a bridge too far. So yeah, that one's a bridge too far. I wouldn't buy like Klan Pops either.
So don't even, because like, I don't care how many marshmallows are in it. Like, I know for a fact you'd be like, this money can't be going to a good cause.
Yeah. All right,
I hate to bring it to that.
That one's a bridge too far. Yeah, all right, you found my cut one. So,
see, I don't know. Like, on the same token, right? I don't know if I'd try like Stars and Bars cereal or whatever. Like,
if Dukes of Hazzard made a cereal, I would totally try it. So
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Now, obviously, I'm not on board with
secessionism.
You know? Like, I don't know. I don't like, maybe if they so if they tried to be slick about it, right? If they didn't put the Stars and Bars on it, but they called it like states' rights cereal.
Oh my!
Would you know? Would you?
Yeah.
Would you inherently know?
You know?
Would you inherently know that this is not what?
This is not. Yeah, we call them freedom oats. It's like, yeah. So I got you, buddy. So I don't know, man. I don't like it when people try and be slick about shit like that. So I actually kind of have a little bit more respect when you're just kind of out with it. So
I agree.
But like, really, when it comes down to it, I don't think that it's like you really got to push. You got to put swastikas on something or something like that before I probably wouldn't buy it, because I don't. So like that's what I vote for. So like I would never vote for a socialist candidate ever. So there we go. Okay, so that one, I mean so like ideology and how I express myself in ideology, it has that spot. Okay, so so I kind of divide them a little bit here and there. Are there companies out there that do shady bullshit? Yeah, of course there are. They're not nearly as prevalent as people think they are. They're not as, like, the whole DeBeers diamond thing is complete horseshit. So,
Right. What is?
Oh, and the blood mines and all that stuff, blood diamonds and yada, 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 and this one Belgian company basically took over the entire market, yada, yada. It's not true. So...
What's the truth?
Huh? Diamonds are amazingly common. Okay.
Well, that I know.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, and like the market power is nothing to do with controlling the supply. It has everything to do with generating demand. So it's on the other side. They were the ones who were clever enough to actually start figuring out that, a diamond's really, like, you're only going to buy like one in your life, so let's tie it to marriage. So it's a marketing scheme. It's not a, like, we enslaved an entire continent, and deprived it of its wealth.
Fucking mines in Angola and shit.
Exactly. It's just someone came up with a new Coke strategy that fucking worked. So,
Well, is it wrong that they basically control most of the supply of diamonds?
I don't think they do. So, yeah, I mean, it's really hard to like figure out. So there's all these like movies and books and shit that were based upon this stuff. All right, but they're on razor thin evidence. All right, so because it is a private company.
Yeah.
Okay, but like when you say, what do you mean they control the supply? They don't. Okay, so what they do is they actually buy like very, very specialized diamonds. Okay, so your top quality gems and stuff like that, and then they were able to market those as, hey, this is what you do when you're 25 and you're going to propose to somebody.
Right.
So the value is not in actually controlling the market. The value is in actually like being able to get that stuff to the market that you've created. So,
I got that. But, okay, so, classic point of this was like chocolate diamonds, right? Which are, to me, they're shitty looking.
I think they look terrible.
I think they're hideous.
Yeah.
But the whole thing on that was, for the longest time, that because they were like this, what they would do is they would sell them to manufacturers, right?
Yeah.
So they
can make saws and
stuff, to cut things with, right? But they got into their heads. They're like, okay, well, actually, let's try to market these, right, as chocolate diamonds, right? Same kind of thing. And my understanding was that DeBeers, if that were the case, and diamonds are way more common, right? Doesn't it stand to reason that somebody else would start mining these and...
Well, and they have, yeah. So, I mean, but DeBeers controls one of the distribution channels in that. So basically, they're the ones who, like, your mom and pop jeweler store down the street, okay, uses them as a distributor. Okay, so they can get whatever stones or whatever diamonds they want, because DeBeers will go out and open bid for all that shit out there in the market. Okay, they don't, like, they don't enslave people and force them into the mines.
No, of course.
Which is what people think, though. But that's not how that works. They're a middleman. Okay, and when you're a middleman, if you control access to the downstream market because of your distribution network, that's extremely valuable. And some people, they're controlling the supply. It's not. No, man. Okay, they're controlling demand. All right, this is different. All right, so, and it's perfectly legal. All right, people do it all the time. What do you think? What the fuck do you think Amazon does? So,
well, they are the biggest.
They are.
I mean, significantly.
Right.
Well, it's the same thing. It's funny. Is for years, right? Mm-hmm. Do you know what the name of the one that closed them all out? Do you know who the big comic book distributor was? Diamond.
Okay.
It's funny that you say that because, it's the name of the company was Diamond.
Okay.
Right? And it just plays into...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. But it's the same... It's the same kind of
Were
thing.
Were they enslaving people in an entire continent? Yeah.
Dude, the way that people used to talk about it with such fucking hyperbole, they'd say yes.
Oh, people talk about, like, anything that has anything to do with corporations, they talk about with hyperbole. So it's ridiculous.
No, it's what DeBeers has also done is it's the same thing where they convince people. It's like, well, you should be spending 2 months' salary on this. So, like, who the fuck are you to say that? That's completely
a marketing gimmick.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's exceptionally clever too, because it's basically like, it's like, oh, I'm sorry, you have a small dick. So
this artificial,
you might want to do something about that.
Well, this artificial measurement upon which a woman can gauge your worth,
right? Yeah,
is based on something that you purchase that you absolutely cannot eat or drive to work.
No. So, I don't know. Like, the last couple of people that I've known got married, they didn't go all nuts with diamonds and stuff like that. Maybe that's going away a little bit.
Well,
I don't know.
How many people have you seen? Like, one of the things that's taken off there is, like, I guess I saw this. I thought this was just because I was working with guys in the field, right? The wedding rings that are like one solid color, the
rubber ones,
or whatever, like not just the rubber ones, but also they're all like just a hard dark metal or something like that. Things or whatever like that. I thought
my brother got a wooden one, so
that's cool.
It actually looks cool, So, but no, it's all there. I've seen a lot of people get tattoos,
wood, right?
and stuff like that. No, it's all different, man. So
but it's not like pine.
Right, yeah. It's a plug nickel. No. So it's really nice.
One of the coolest things that I came across when I don't do it as much anymore just because what was my other job? I don't do as much TV anymore, but one of the things that I saw that was kind of cool was I didn't realize the historical rarity of wood.
Of wood?
Yes, because...
I don't know. I don't know anything about this.
Yeah, this was something that was like super cool that I learned there. Like, so I guess in places like New England, right? Where people would kill, like in their houses, to keep the original flooring and certain ceilings of certain things, because at the time, right? So when these guys were out there clearing forests in New England at the time, right? This continent untouched, right? Trees have been going for thousands of years.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So they could do planks like 12, like 14 inches
wide, yeah.
Yeah, even wider, but you're not going to get that out of most like modern trees. Because
right. Yeah, I gotcha.
And so it's kind of cool where it's like, oh, well, this does have a unique place in time, right? It's like, wow, that's kind of interesting. I wouldn't have thought about it.
Yeah, actually, I knew a little bit about that, I guess. So, because, like...
Oh, sure, yeah.
Well, like shipbuilding. Shipbuilding was really easy to do in North America because they had all this really good oak that they could make.
Isn't oak heavy?
It's supposed to be. So it's almost like it's like putting armor on a wooden ship.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's really, really, really popular stuff. So, like, and I knew a little bit about that. Like the English, there were like special forests that were just for the Royal Navy. For
that
years,
makes perfect sense. Okay,
for
see,
centuries.
yeah.
It would, of course, it's England. It's England. So if you cut down a tree in there, they'll fucking kill you.
They'll hang you.
They'll hang you.
Yeah.
They'll hang you.
You'll be hanged as a traitor.
Right, yeah.
What was that? What stupid show were we watching?
Who was...
I will be hanged as a traitor!
Oh, I don't remember.
Those Liberty's kids.
God, yeah, you're right. Liberty's kids. So
your postscript on that, and you know what, Jeff? They hanged the shit out of that.
Guy. Yeah, they did. So yeah, they did. They were really nice to him, and they said, "Oh no, we're gonna hang you though." So, but what was it? So there was something that I saw the other day. You were talking about this the other day about like how Saturday morning cartoons got ruined. And it did have something to do with PBS, and then PBS. There was something about like you had to have like this ratio of program educational content, and so I was actually looking at PBS the other day, and it made perfect sense. So because they have all these like math kids and Wildcrats and shit like that, which is just this like kind of like really nerfy science kind of stuff.
Well, that's why Arthur got a free pass for years.
Arthur got a free pass
walked
for
the
years.
line between educational and
right. Yeah, apparently Arthur he's got a show that's called like Arthur's Podcast now. So even Arthur's got a podcast. So anyway.
You know what? That's right, because I think that's how the original series ended, was that it gave a glimpse of the future.
Oh.
And he was this semi-half fucking hipster doofus who is now broadcasting his... I don't know how to say it. Like, Arthur was...
Marxist.
I'm not saying Marxist, but you're probably right. Like, I mean, in that world, would Arthur count as like a colored fellow? Is he a...
I don't even... They're so ambiguous about it that I think out of all the shows that I've seen, that one's the best about keeping it ambiguous. So...
Okay, well, yeah, so maybe it's just flat out Marxist. Maybe it's just fucking,
It's just really super softy liberal bullshit. So is what it is. So,
but it adheres to basically the principles of liberalism that everybody can even agree to on a conservative level, where it's where you take liberalism as like the simple part that absolutely makes sense, where you just like, well, if we use all the cheese now, then there will be no cheese for future generations.
Yeah.
So should we save some of that cheese, Arthur? It's like,
well, and even the PC side of it, that's back when political correctness was actually a thing. And it's just like, it literally is just being polite. You
Absolutely.
know? Yeah, it's not what it's turned into, ever since PC Principle. Oh my gosh. So
right, and people either... Actually, no, they didn't either. They doubled down on it on either side. Where,
they did.
It's the middle ground of well, would you prefer to be called something? And you think about it, and you go back to first day of class in 1986, and you say, your teacher's taking a role, and she's saying like, well, okay, so I'm going to call your name, but if you go by a nickname or something, I'm going to write it down, right?
Right.
If you go by the letter of the law, right? If you take that same thing, it's like, no. Your God-given name is Pauline, and that's what you're going to be.
I don't think I've ever seen a teacher do
Absolutely not. No, because that's unreasonable.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Right? Now, does that mean you take it, so far that some 5-year-old person is like, I'm a girl. Like,
yeah, that one's been a little quieter lately. So
there's a war on.
Oh yeah, but like we'll get to that. But I still don't know quite what the fuck is going on there. But there was something the other day that had to do with swimming. I saw.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, and it seemed like they tried to do this thing where they were going to have a third category.
Correct.
So like, and I was watching this guy a while back, and he says, well, he was kind of on board with the idea of an open category. So you have like the main category, and anybody can enter that.
Correct.
And then you have a women's category.
And a men's category.
Well, actually, he was like, you actually don't need a men's category. So if you just have an open category at that point in time, everybody's going to know that's the one with the tough guys in it. So I thought it was a pretty salient point. It was like, oh, okay, so you can nip this whole thing in the bud by just saying like, all right, so the women's category is for natal females, so who have not gone through any hormone therapy.
Right.
So, okay, and then everything goes away. Like, immediately. So, because you won't even get a trans guy going into the female category. It just walls that whole thing off.
In theory, yes.
In theory, yeah.
Yes.
So, like when I saw that swimming try to do a 3 category, I was like, well, yeah, of course nobody signed up for the 3rd category. So, you're going to fight against yourself. You're going to have 3 sets of medals. I don't know. So,
yes, absolutely.
Well, that's fine, but nobody signed up for it. So,
that's the problem, yes.
Exactly. So, yeah.
Which is very telling, yes.
Oh, I think it's extremely telling.
Yes.
So, yeah, and so that's why I was thinking that, I hadn't heard ever since the Bud Light thing. It just hasn't really been... It hasn't been front and center, at least in the corners of Twitter that I'm on. So, and like the podcasts that I've seen where people like used to tiptoe around that issue, they don't really anymore. So,
well, all right. So nobody has really done anything that would be worthy of that much. Like, so the same culprits. Like, you'll still see dumbass Dylan Mulvaney like popping around, and you'll still see the press like,
you gotta go look for him to find him.
Nah, he's around, and unfortunately that piece of shit is being toted around like this. Man, I gotta tell you, this is like this is the thing that kind of gets to me on this, like, especially like I used to say this back in the day because I I said I met a few, especially like I met people like way before any of this was a big deal, right?
Yeah, I remember you telling me about one. It's like, wow, that's new. So yeah,
and this is the thing. So
like 10 years ago.
If you want to take the lightning rod of this and basically take essentially the Bruce Jenner thing, right, as the lightning rod that made everybody say like, wow, this is a thing. Right now, this had been going on.
It was like 2014, 2015.
Well, way earlier than
was
that,
it?
Man. Yeah,
I can't remember. Yeah. I can't put dates on it anymore, man.
Okay, well, anyway, but so take this thing like way back, and so I'd known about this kind of stuff, of course, like when I was younger, whatever. But
I didn't know anything about it when I was younger.
Well,
the only thing that I knew about was the hospital down in fucking Trinidad, and so and that. Like, because every now and then, like, this is back in the 90s, I'd see people in wheelchairs. Oh, they'd fly into our airport.
Yeah, that's right. You told me about that. I didn't even think about that, but...
that was my only exposure to any of that.
Well, so back then, it was just basically like drag queens, right? And so, I'd met people like this and whatever, like, I don't care, because at this point, it's like, well, you know what you are. You're a drag queen. Right?
Yeah.
Like, actually, I was like, well, this is kind of interesting. It's like, all right, that's fine. You do you, right? That's all it was, right? But then, like, when they started, like, flipping around and like, when, like, ESPN and all these things were making, like, Caitlyn Jenner, like, person of the year, like, so brave. And, like, no, actually, those people hanging out and getting the shit kicked out of them on the street corners, like, were pretty brave. You were people? The actual, like, drag queens from back then.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Sorry.
No, it's fine. And I don't want to, like, be too specific. It's like, these were the ones that were actually brave. You were in, specifically, the safest place that you could be
to do
this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And this is the thing where
like... I remember Colorado used to be the hate state. So,
it used to be. And so when you take that and you take a person like Dylan Mulvaney, who is being like walked around the press, and celebrities love this dude and all this other shit.
Do they?
Yes.
Really?
They
like
do.
Who?
Oh, like, go to the place where you can watch, like, on Drew Barrymore's show where she gets on her fucking knees and tells her how brave you are, blah, blah, blah.
She on strike.
She's not. As a matter of fact, she got in trouble because
she tried to bring her show back, didn't she?
Yeah.
I need to pay my bills.
Fuck you. Honestly, at that point, I was like, all right, well, then this is a non-union job.
Yeah.
You're not welcome here.
Show?
Because she's not doing anything else.
Okay,
and because she is so ridiculously harmless. I did a show once where she was rehabbing the houses of her friends. Right?
Oh, come on.
You want to talk about fucking...
I got a great idea for a show. Let's pitch it. Yeah.
Like, I know...
You're all going to get new kitchens out of this. So
Okay, and I know, like, again, I know why somebody on HLN or whatever would take that idea.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Well, we have a celebrity. Mm-hmm. She could hook us up with all this information here, right? Yeah. I used to get pissed at that so much. I'd see things like that where they're fixing up the houses of people they know. I'm like... You incestuous fuckers. I was like, you seriously, if you actually looked around and said, who actually needs help?
Well, I mean...
But don't play it off like you're trying to help.
I know, but I mean, this is not new in Hollywood.
No, of course not.
This is not new.
No.
So, I mean, and it has nothing to do with, like, necessarily, any kind of political issue.
No.
Or any kind of bias or whatnot, because, I mean, like... Yeah, like, what was it? This was like 5, 6... No, this was longer. This was like 10 years ago. Where Katy Perry was trying to kick out all those nuns. So she could rehab... I can't remember what it was. But it was like...
I don't remember this.
Yeah, no, so there was this convent that, had this really choice piece of property that was next door to our house. Or something like that. And there was only like 4 fucking nuns left because the Catholic Church had said, "Hey, we're gonna sell this out, but we gotta wait until you guys die because we need to take the vow." It's like, okay, the church is gonna take care of you too, and so this is your home. You've run this for many, many years. We'll just wait. And then she went through this whole thing, trying to get them out of there and stuff because she wanted to fucking flip the property next to her. I know, it was just like, so the incestuousness in Hollywood knows no limit.
No, and basically the selectiveness to upon something and say this person is horrible for forever, right? Versus, oh, well, anybody would do that.
Well, yeah, they were really to die anyway. So,
well, does that mean you kill them?
Right, yeah. You turn them out on the streets.
Will even your Hollywood god, kill you or punish you for this? But yeah, this is the thing is, like, so you take this person and you're parading this fucking loser around, right? Because the only thing that you're doing here is this is an oddity, right? Sure. It's essentially, you're treating this like a freak show. It's like the Elephant Man. It's like, this is the thing that's disgusting about this to me is for all the help that you think you're doing by this, right? It's the same thing. It would be like if you were parading around the world's fattest man. That's all you're doing.
Hey, man, he knows exactly what he's doing. So
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, right? So, like, all right, so if Drew Barrymore wants to pay me money to come on her show to dance around like that, okay, so I'm the one who's taking the check home,
Exactly.
I can't really fault him for that, I suppose, I mean, there's nothing about the guy that strikes me as being unintelligent. So, or at least he's wise to his own shit. We'll put it that way. So,
well, yeah, because he was basically getting nowhere as an actor, as a gay man.
Well, as a performer in Broadway, so which is where he came from.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, so that's a tough world to be, a gay white young man. So that's the capital of those things.
You're chock full of those.
Right? Yeah, there's no shortage.
You're lousy with white gay young men. Yes, absolutely. At that point, yes, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
So,
yeah, I get it, and so if this is the lengths that you're going to go through because it is now at this point, like if you did this 20 years ago, you would have been. It's like, fuck you. It's like, what are you doing, right? But since you've let everybody basically clear the safety,
you wouldn't have gotten any traction.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, sorry, man. There was a war going on.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you want to address this?
I guess. I mean, I'm guessing that you know more about it than I do, because
the details are sparse. That's the problem.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I actually turned on some of the news today. Try and see what was going on.
Okay.
You can't tell if it's an invasion or if it's 300 guys who ran over to the border and machine gunned a bunch of people and then ran back. I don't know. So I know that within the next 3 days, shit's gonna start hitting my Twitter feed and my podcast like loops out there, and I know within the next 2 days I'm going to see Max fucking Blumenthal's face on something,
Of course.
and talking about how this is all Israel's fault.
Yes.
I might see Norm Finkelstein do the same thing. We'll see. So that guy's interesting though. I know. So the lefty podcasty thing that I do pay attention to, I have narrowed it down to like 2 now. So they have been culled. So, but I got to keep tabs on the burning people somehow.
Well, I guess that's my question. Are they essentially just retreading the same water, right? I have no problem.
But that's true on both sides, man. It's hard to find something that's truly original now. I mean, like, so if you're looking at like foreign fair stuff, you can find some of that shit. That's like, actually, this is a different way to think about this, and thank you for that.
Yeah.
And like, same thing. I've actually found some economic stuff that's like that. It's like, that's a really good way to think about that. Thank you. It's totally different than the arguments that I've been hearing from everybody else for the last 5-10 years. So, but the political stuff is really hard. And so I don't know. I know that you're going to have like, I'm curious to see, like, there's going to be a few guys that come out the next couple days. I want to get their takes on it. So I know Glenn Greenwald's going to put something up soon. I'll be curious to see what he says. Yeah. So, because he's done the apartheid state thing a couple times, but at the same point in time, he's also been rather sympathetic, at certain points in his career, shall we say?
Yeah, he does.
I'm curious to see what he has to say.
I agree.
It happened on Friday, so I have to wait a whole another week before I can get Walter Kern and Matt Taibbi's take on it. I'm sorry, man. He's grown on me. So
it's funny. It's weird.
So, but he's pretty sharp, man. And their podcast is great because they always talk about a classic piece of literature. And so, like at the last like half an hour, it's usually a 2-hour podcast or something like that. And I just like listening to Taibbi. But they'll do like they're both like book nuts, and so like they've been doing all these classic pieces of American lit. Like they did Bartleby like 2 weeks ago, which is one of my favorites.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So, and it's just a nice little, like, it's like a dessert on a podcast, which you don't get on most others. So, but anyway, I want to see what those guys have to say about it. I'm curious what I haven't seen him post in the last 2 days. So there's this other guy that I watch, and he's actually, I don't think he's not actually from Israel, but he fought in both of the wars. He's really, really good on international affairs.
Oh, okay.
And military shit in particular. And so I've been following him on the Twitter lately, and he's interesting because he'll actually fight back with people. So a little bit. And he's like 80, so he don't give 2 fucks. So, right. Yeah,
Well, the latest news I have, and you take this as it will,
right, yeah, so
whether or not this is to be confirmed or not, but basically, so they're saying that over 100,000 Israeli soldiers have been deployed to the Gaza border.
I believe that.
And they're estimating that 250,000 will be entering shortly.
But yeah, they got a huge reserve army system.
Yeah, so
because they have mandatory service there, man. That's what Taiwan needs to do. So, South Korea does it. So yeah, so yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know, like what prompted this. It was just like, oh, it's a Friday, kind of thing, or is it? It seemed a little bit more coordinated, like they were actually like working on this for a while.
Right, and this is where the conspiracies come in that will be yet to be.
Oh, everybody's gonna try and link it to Iran. So
so there's,
and that might very well be true. So
it might be, right? So there's 2 layers, actually 3 layers of conspiracies here that, if any of them pan out, it's going to be bad, right? So number 1 is, yes, they talk about this being planned out for a while, right? Mm-hmm. But the start on this is basically like the $6 billion that Joe Biden wrote to Iran recently, and about whether or not this is being used to support this. I don't know.
Why did he give him $6 billion?
It was part of a hostage negotiation.
Oh, okay. Did he give him the money, or did they release some of the money that had been frozen?
All right. So in theory, okay, they say they know exactly where the money is. So they're saying that they don't think they use this.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I'll watch. The second part of this is whether or not a lot of the materials and the things that they have that they're using on this is the stuff that we left behind when we left Afghanistan. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They'll be able to determine that pretty quickly.
I thought so.
Yeah.
But that's the other thing. The other thing is that there is decent evidence, but it needs to come out cleanly, that essentially weapons that we're giving to Ukraine have made it to them.
Oh, I doubt that very much.
I don't know. Again, this is something that it's 2 days in. There's a lot of chatter. Nobody knows.
Yeah, that's too much chatter for me, man.
So if it's going to come out and it comes out, all right, yeah, I would not be happy to see any of those things. I'm not happy seeing this the way that it is. And frankly, this is the problem for me here is, okay, so take a thing like September 11th, right? Small group of people. Yes, they are part of a larger group. Don't get me wrong.
22, yeah.
But a small group of people commit an act of domestic terror.
Yep.
Okay? Indiscriminate domestic terror. The shit where they came in and took women and children in Israel is really fucked up.
Yeah. So that's a little bit beyond normal.
You can't be on the good side of things. Like, I don't give a shit what your position is if that's your method of solving the problem.
Yeah, it kind of speaks to, like, either a level of desperation or just, like, a level of...
contempt, disgust.
Yeah, pure contempt, yeah.
Or that's you said like escalation. Yeah, you're deliberately wanting to stoke this as much as you can.
Yeah.
I know that we have our the carrier is headed over there to that region.
It's not going to do anything.
Oh,
they'll just park it out there, deliver humanitarian aid and stuff like that. You know, a U.S. carrier's not going to do shit in the Mediterranean, man. So, I mean, basically all they do is sail through it. It's kind of small for a carrier, so
I agree.
Yeah, no, I don't see any.
But now we're officially in the region, though.
Well, we've been there the entire time. We still have dudes in Syria, man. So yeah, I mean, come on. We got tons of guys still in Iraq. So, you know, they're not official U.S. combat troops, but, you know, these are guys who, you know, are working on the civilian side of the government, but also draw a paycheck from elsewhere. You know, but hey, man, they keep the lights on and stuff like that. So.
Hey, man, on the sheer grounds that basically I wasn't able to predict this, and nobody was. The reactions to it, I don't know. I have no idea how that's going to play out.
Well, I don't know either. So, yeah. So the U.S. usually has 4 carriers at sea at any given point in time. So one of them usually is in the Atlantic or the Mediterranean. Another one's usually
probably a good place for it.
Well, yeah. So then there's usually another one in the Indian Ocean, just in case like something stirs up in Iraq or whatever. Again, it stays fairly close to the Persian Gulf. So, and then the last 2 are always in the Pacific. Yeah. So yeah, which makes sense. So
perfect sense.
Yeah, but
we got some sneaky people over there.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know, man. We'll have to see exactly what it is. So, and how it gets, I don't know, resolved. So, but I mean, you just basically cemented Netanyahu back in office for another 6 years. So at that point in time, which makes he's been like the prime minister on and off for like 20 some fucking years.
Yeah, he's giving Putin a run for his money.
Yeah, kind of, but he's not quite the same kind of guy. You know, he does have a parliament that can oust him, and
he does. He does.
So you know,
it's not the thing where it's like, well, all right, well, so I can't do this job anymore, so I'm going to switch to this job.
Right? Yeah.
And all the things go to this job.
I'll be the Speaker of the House.
Right.
So. Yeah, that was funny. So,
that was not gonna. Oh
I know God. What's gonna happen. But the absolute fucking, you know, like
the hubris
freak fest that was going on on certain parts of the left. Where Just like everybody's on Hitler patrol, like instantaneously. It's like, he's got all the same emergency alert at the same time. I decided to get on Twitter.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. We'll have to see. So I would be very, very surprised if this has anything to do with the Afghanistan thing. The $6 billion is interesting, so we'll have to see. Especially since, we don't know exactly who it is. I don't know, like, a real good lay of the land out there. So, but I know, like, so Hamas and Hezbollah are connected. So, and then, those are both connected back to Iran. I do know that Israel and Saudi Arabia were getting really fucking close to actually doing a treaty. So, they were getting really close to doing a treaty. So,
Saudi Arabia is only... They're a fascinating place.
I've got a slightly different opinion on them than I did a couple of years ago. So
I mean, and when I say fascinating, I don't necessarily mean good. But if you want to talk about any place where if you want to predict things, you don't really have to go that ideologically deep. You just have to go to money and that family.
Right. Yeah, but like the guy who's actually in charge now, everybody hates him. So because of the whole like Jamal Khashoggi thing. The guy in Washington Post who got chopped up. Yeah. So, kind of thing. And so there's a different take out there that didn't get much press because, of course, they're all going to draw ranks around, their chopped up colleague.
Look, that's fair.
Totally fair.
One of us.
One of us. Totally fair. But basically that was like somebody done fucked up and thought this was going to make that guy happy. So they tried to bring him a little present. So this was like Pompey's head with Caesar kind of thing.
Right, yeah.
So he did not take it that way. Yeah. And so, the whole thing is kind of like, it's a little bit different. And then...
Shit, that's the same kind of thing that happened with the cartels, remember? Where they're like, whoa, guys, we did not know. No, we did not order...
Yeah.
Remember? Because when they mistakenly killed some people from the U.S.?
When?
This was about 6 months ago, a year
ago.
Oh,
you mean the people who cross the border to get plastic surgery? Right.
Yeah.
Very much like that. Yeah.
Like, no. We are sorry.
Yeah. No. So the Saudi Arabia angle, I'll see if that actually pans out a little bit because they were getting pretty close to actually, so the Saudis and the Israelis have a little bit different relationship than, say, like the Israelis and the Iranians do, but it's kind of an enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Fair enough.
And so, and
I know Egypt's in that too.
Egypt is in that too, but Egypt is probably one of the more moderate of all the people around there. So ever since that Arab Spring thing, they've kind of chilled out quite a bit. So that was 10 years ago. Yeah, exactly. So, or 9 years ago. So they've had to chill out with that quite a bit. So it's not quite the same. And so, it's really emerging in some respects that, all right, Iran is kind of like the troublemaker around here. So they're doing anything they can to make money. That's why they keep selling drones to Russia. So using parts that they get from China. They keep trying to ship oil to the Chinese that we keep interdicting. Actually, more specifically, the Indians keep interdicting it. So, and that
makes sense, yeah.
That's why they were capturing like all these tankers. And you know what they decided to do?
What?
They reflagged them as American tankers. So, it was really clever. They said, take an American tanker, asshole. So, we got the USS Abraham Lincoln cruising out there around Diego Garcia. So, so that solved that piracy problem in a minute. So they've been doing all this weird bullshit, trying to get oil out. And then, so like that's the whole thing I was telling you about OPEC the other day. OPEC's kind of busted. It doesn't work. It's not going to work the way that it used to. So
no.
And the Saudis are the drivers behind that. They know it. So they know that the U.S. is noped out of the Middle East. So they're like, okay, so we need to keep cool with Uncle Sam just in case something really bad happens. He's going to come over and help us out. All right, but we can do a lot of this like local level diplomacy kind of shit. And so when we nope out, that's when they started talking to the Israelis. So, because the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of thing. And they just had to pick who of the two is the more enemy. And they picked the other Islamicists. Those guys are much worse than the Jews.
They're not wrong.
Yeah. They're not wrong. So, but I don't know. I'll be curious to see what other takes come out of that. So,
because generally speaking, even if you agree with them on disagree with them on the most fundamental levels, they're predictable.
Yep.
Right. This kind of thing where essentially they had people like paratrooping in.
Yeah, using like fucking fans or paragliders. That's weird.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that this is how they sort of like infiltrated, amongst other things. But I mean, that's some old school shit. That's
how war's going, man. Manpower is king.
Yeah.
So more so than anything else, manpower and artillery. Ukraine has proved that. So I saw this, like, all these tweets the other day that I was watching these guys arguing. There's a Wall Street Journal article that came out that had to do with like Ukrainian young men who are living in Europe. So and they're like, you guys need to go the fuck home. So because the only reason. the only reason so we don't have Russians right up on our border right now is because trench warfare is extremely expensive. So I said, like, hey, you guys need to stop playing video games, pack up and go back to your country and defend it. So,
dude, it's a tough one. Look, it's the positions that people had, okay, especially like take Europe for an example. On immigration 10 years ago.
Totally different.
Very, very different. The things that they were mocking the United States for, they are now turning around and say, like, you guys don't fucking know what it's like. Right? It's like, well, we do.
Yeah.
The thing is, instead of like drawing one position and saying like everybody who doesn't do this is unenlightened, we have two parties here that bark at each other nonstop, right? Where one guy does this and says, oh, this is racist. Okay. Then when the other guy says it, then that's racist, right? But you're all doing the same shit. Like the fact that the Biden administration is now committed to building a wall.
It's so funny.
But now it's not racist.
Well, of course not. So, because it's only racist when the other guy does it. So.
They had to sell, because before, when they got on their high horse about it, they sold back the materials to build this thing, right? Now they have to buy those materials back again, right? To rebuild this.
Just make new ones.
So. Well, no. This actually happened. They had $300 million worth of materials. They sold it back. Didn't make dick. Now they have to buy it again.
Yeah, no, they're not allowed to make money off that. So.
Right, but now it's not racist. This is what I'm talking about. That
doesn't surprise me one bit. So it really doesn't. Biden's got to do something about the border. So it doesn't matter, man. I mean, a wall's not going to do anything different. It's not going to make a lick of difference. So but. Because really, when it comes down to it, you got to punch something through Congress that actually straightens out the fucking immigration process. So, well, you can't just set up fucking machine gun nests all along the border, man.
I think you can. All right,
I don't think so, man. You can't shoot a sovereign citizen on another country just because they're over there.
See, here's the way I see it. Okay, so what you do is you take the American border, okay, and what I say that you do is you take that, and what you do is you move it back. Right, you move it back about 500 yards.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
So you have a DMZ.
Well, here's the thing.
You have a kill zone.
Okay. So that's the thing is all right. So you have the basically like the inroads area. Right. So if you're going to drive in and you're going to get processed, okay, that's fine. You walk along the roads, you go in there. Everything else has basically like a fence on it. Okay. And out there, what you have these signs in English and Spanish that say
landmines.
Well, not even landmines. But what I say that you have out here, no landmines, but basically you have like the watchtower over here, and you have like drones that look over this, and so you have the signs that say, if you're looking to be processed, you go this way. Okay. If you continue this way, you have entered as a hostile combatant and you will be shot.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. So.
No.
I know, I got you. I hear you.
I'm not doing the shooting.
I know, but somebody's got to do the shooting.
Plenty of people who would be happy to.
I don't want people who want to shoot people to have those jobs.
Someone's got to do it.
I don't want.
How do you think they make hamburgers, dude? It's the same thing. Like,
I don't want to know about that.
I don't. I've always argued about this. Do the psychopaths go work for the slaughterhouses, or do they eventually learn to hate cows? I don't know. But if you're out there, right? If these people cross over in this, disputed this part of America, right? As a hostile combatant, you shoot them, you leave the corpse out there.
Yeah, no, I don't want to live in that country.
Now, obviously, that's pretty rough.
That's pretty rough.
Yes, but if you don't want it to get to that, right? This is the same thing. Like, how do you get to the point where the officers and the policemen are kicking ass nonstop? Well, you leave shit alone for too long until the only way that you can go in there and correct it is to overcorrect.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want to do that. So if you don't want it to get to that, then fucking, clamp it now.
Nobody wants to fix it. That's the thing. So neither party has an incentive to fix the border. It's a great issue to hit the other side with. When whoever's in charge, you get hit with that stick. So, I don't know, man.
Look, it's pretty clear. Look, all right. It has to be addressed.
No, it doesn't.
Well, there you go.
Well, we've been doing it for 100 years, so clearly it doesn't have to be addressed.
It has to be addressed. It must be addressed now.
Yeah, right.
Yesterday would have been great.
Yeah, it would be
but
great.
Now's the second best time.
Second best time, yeah. So we should both fall up behind never. I don't know, man. Yeah, until you actually get one party that's in power, like with enough authority to be actually like hang on to it for a couple cycles. So, like if FDR was going to fix the wall would have been fixed. Or the border would have been fixed because you had supermajorities in both houses. You had a president, so who was... Well, I mean, but that's the only time in the entire history of the United States where people left the country as opposed to came in. So, I mean, even after the 2008 crash, I mean, immigration didn't stop. So during COVID, it didn't stop. In fact, it got worse. So, I mean... We
say it got worse, but I mean,
there were more people.
You're right.
You're right. Yeah. I don't know if that's necessarily worse. So, like, I mean, personally, I think they should have let more people in just to actually get the population growth back up a little bit, So,
you know my stance.
I know. I think it's perfect, man. So, yeah, throw an extra % on that. That's fine with me. So, like, the last thing that I want is...
People will either mate and have children, or...
And here's what I don't...
It's going to get brown.
Here's what I don't want, and I hear a lot of people on the right talking about this. Well, we just want the smart... I don't want the fucking smart people. Okay? I don't want fucking, PhD mathematicians and shit like that getting in anymore. So, Joe Biden does one good thing. He did clamp down on H-1B visas. Okay?
Yeah, that was... that is the bullshit. Because the way that people were gaming the system...
It was pretty bad.
Was embarrassing. As a matter of fact, I can tell you who was gaming it.
The Canadians.
Oh, that's one.
That's one, yeah.
The other one is that nation next to China that is known for running scams.
Oh, India? Yeah. Yes. Yeah, no, there was quite a bit of that. But, like, it's so they would go to other countries and get visa residency there and then use their quota in order to get in the United States. Because the United States has quota per country. So, yeah. And so if you're trying to get an Indian visa into the United States, your chances are like 1 in 1.2 billion. So, but if you're an Indian and you go to Germany to study...
Yeah.
Right.
They told me about it. Yeah.
It's shady.
It was disgraceful because what are you doing at that point? You're also taking the opportunity from somebody from that country.
Correct. Yeah.
But basically, they're selling it. That's really what was happening. But
Canada was the bad one because they get residency in Canada and then stay there until they applied for residency in the United States, which can take up to 10 years. So yeah. No, man. I need more. We need more roofers. We need more people who can do plumbing. We need more people to clean roads. So yeah, all those things.
You know what? Yeah, well, actually, let me put it this way: a good mix is
that's fine.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Just don't let in just fucking smart people. So we need. Yeah. Like definitely, because if you look at all the pain points in the economy, it's all related to any kind of like fucking intensive labor. It's ridiculously expensive in those things.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, you're looking for cheap labor. Good fucking luck. So good fucking luck anymore. And so yes.
You think in a million years I would have replaced the fence unless a drunk guy destroyed it? Are you nuts?
Right. Yeah, exactly. No way, man. It's expensive. So you're talking about your backyard fence.
Yes.
That's the one in El Paso.
Oh, no. But yeah, and that's another project they can work on. That's fine. You're absolutely right, and that's the same. When you talk about successful immigration, if you talk about it in waves, yes, that's the same kind of thing, right? This is the, the bullshit they used to talk about. It's like people forget that like the Irish weren't welcome here, the Italians weren't welcome here,
the
right?
Jews.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
No.
Chinese, yeah, everybody.
Oh, the Japanese. This is the shit. This is the thing I used to joke about was like, if you watch like Chinatown, this is actually pretty accurate. Where like all of the gardeners and landscapers were Japanese at one point.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right. Mm-hmm. They don't do that.
They were all
anymore.
Mr. Miyagi's at one point in time.
I'm not fucking around.
No,
with
I know.
That's
I know. It's not that way anymore. So
you work your way up that chain here. It is what it is. Right.
Yeah. Well, it only takes a generation for your family to melt into the rest of it. So it really does. Okay, I mean, like if I take a look at my students, and especially those that, over the past few years I've seen become really successful, a lot of them are second generation or first generation students.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so your dad may have come across the border in the 80s. Okay, and then he changed oil at Jiffy Lube for 25 years. But you're a fucking accountant, and now nobody gives a shit that your last name is Garcia.
You're correct.
Yeah. So it only takes a generation to melt into the rest of it. I mean, that's like so classically illustrated right now about like Hispanics and like severely Republican Hispanics in Texas.
So Republican. Yeah. This is the Democrat.
They all wear Longhorn hats.
Well, because they consider themselves Texans.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yes. This is the funny thing. All right. This is the thing that I chuckle at here when it comes to the people thought that the demographic shift, right, of the quote unquote great replacement, which is such a misnomer, right?
Oh, it's terrible.
Because it presumes certain things where you say, oh, well, all people, of course, are of a certain mentality when they come from a certain place.
Exactly.
It presumes no diversity of thought or persuasion.
It's all the Native Americans that are racist assholes, let alone understanding that after a little bit of time, after a generation, you yourself have become a Native American. So it was wish casting in the worst form out there. And I mean, it's like deterministic, because what it really did, you kind of stepped on a landmine here for me, okay? Because
go ahead.
This argument, I've been hearing it for a decade, all right?
Okay.
And it's always been like, well, no, it's not going to work out like that. I mean, you're talking about this inevitability of history that we're all going to switch to fucking living in towns with trains.
Oh, yeah.
and rent control.
Rent control, and what is it, the vertical agriculture? What do they call it?
Yeah, exactly. The cityscapes where your buildings are basically covered in fucking vines. So,
covered in vines, and instead of like trees, you have like algae.
Right, yeah, and we all eat bugs. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So, and it's just it's based upon this like really, really thin argument, that, and I mean the cut line is clear. Okay, so blue versus red, it's easy. It's urban versus not. So, and I'm not even talking about like suburban. Okay, so suburbia is red. Generally, okay, so but like blue is urban, all right, and yes, of course, there's a lot of like liberal people because they live in large cities, and cities are basically the economic engines of the entire fucking country. They really are. So cities are really, really important. We have a lot of them. So we have a lot of really,
and they're far from each other. This is the other thing that people don't get. There's space between them.
There's a lot of space between them. We keep trying to fill it up and can't do it, man. So, like the Texas Triangle and shit, they've been saying, it'll all be one giant city, for the last 30 fucking years. Same thing with the Front Range here, so...
It's kind of weird.
There's a lot of cows between here and Pueblo, yeah.
There are, and I will say that there are spots where you look at this highway-shaped city.
Like a fuzzy piece of spaghetti.
Yeah, the one that accidentally rolled underneath under the stove.
Hey, it's for residential zoning, right?
Yeah. Like, oh, you're going to go out. Yeah, it is. You're absolutely right.
But what it did, and this is the thing that pisses me off, is it lets anybody who wants to make those arguments off the hook, because it basically gives them like this aura of inevitability, so they don't have to defend their fucking arguments.
Correct.
And they've lost. The arguments on
both sides, yes.
The arguments that they've tried to make over the last 10 years based upon that logic, they have lost. And so this is what I hate seeing about the Democratic Party, right now, is that the normie libs, the people that I kind of identify with, they have no fucking home. Okay, because these lunatics took up. Yeah, exactly.
We made this joke. If you chase out the girls, you
chase out all the girls, man. Yeah,
you can't stay at the party. Well,
But I drove here, man. So I gotta wait for your ass to be done before I can go.
Well, okay, and this is where, when it comes down to the demographic shift, right? This is the thing that I find absolutely hilarious right now is things that they took for granted. Okay. The swinging right now, there's huge movement, number one, in black voters. Okay? Huge movement. We're talking
not
about,
amongst black women, though, man. That's the exception.
Well, okay, that's what we're driving at here. So when you look at any younger demographic, like high school is fascinating.
Yeah, high school's interesting. Yeah.
That one used to have kind of like a little bit of unity like this around here, right? If you look at it now, the split is like this. If you're a boy, you break conservative. If you're a girl, you break liberal.
Yeah.
That's the way it's breaking out now.
Yeah, but those are the young kids. They don't fucking matter.
Well, no, but it will. And that's the thing. It's the same thing, the unpredictability that they would, saying on this is they're like, oh, okay, well, by teaching, by basically introducing like DEI ideas into schools, they're like, oh, okay, well, shouldn't this actually move the needle, this way? No, actually, it alienates the boys, and the girls buy into it.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's the same thing, like where you're talking about, like, yes, black men, okay, are shifting this way.
Yeah.
Okay? Usually, like you said, black women, exactly where they were, because they're not moving.
I don't think I've ever seen them change. So, the only people who really change over time are like your wine moms. So... your fucking soccer moms, your wine mom, the minivan class or the SUV class. They always determine the election.
White women,
and yes. they move in a flock. So they're a big reason why is it, yeah. Well, no, I know, but it's really funny how much people don't pay attention to them. So, but how much they really fucking matter, because these are your suburbanites. They're hands down, they represent a shitload of wealth. Yes. And I mean a fucking shitload, right. Because you're talking about linked households with probably a good chunk of them having at least dual income. Okay, so which is where your middle class is, man. So, I mean, that if you look at the middle class divide right now, it's not based upon how much you make, it's based upon household income. And household income, if you actually look at over time, so single income households fucking suck. Okay, they're terrible. Yeah. But if you have dual income households, your productivity over the last 20 years has almost doubled. Okay, and so if you actually have a dual income household where both people, because this whole thing about women getting paid less is kind of bullshit.
That's total bullshit.
It's not total bullshit, but it's kind of the way that most people think about it is bullshit. So
Well, okay, you draw the distinction for me here.
Most people think that it's like one of these things. It's like, well, I'm a man, so I'm going to negotiate for a higher salary, so I'm going to do the same job for more money. No, that's not how that works. Almost everybody, if you look at it in any kind of randomized trial, if you actually pull salary data from virtually anywhere, there are exceptions to this, especially industries where it's really lopsided, like oil, and stuff like that. Okay, fine. It's statistically insignificant at that point in time, because you have too small of a proportion of women to actually be able to measure it effectively. Okay, but if you look at any other industry, take two cops, they get paid the same.
Yep.
Take a look at two CEOs, they pretty much get paid the same.
Yep.
So the thing is that women have a tendency to drop out of the workforce. So for longer periods of time. So
that's correct.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that it's a wage gap. That doesn't mean that it's...
I didn't say it was a wage gap.
No, but that's what they call it.
Right, that's wrong.
Well, there's two components to it.
Yeah, that's wrong.
Number one, yes, you're right, is... okay, so in any situation, yes, they do tend to leave the workforce more, right? Which does create a discrepancy. You can't really account for that because I'm not going to turn around and say like, all right, so because you elected to leave, right? There's
no, go for it. Sorry.
Well,
I don't mean to interrupt, but
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
So the reason, understanding the way that actually shows up is which group of women are most likely to leave the workforce in terms of income.
Or
yeah.
Well, I presume it would be the ones that have children.
No, it's the ones who make the most money. And so that brings down the average because you're removing the top end of the sample. So if you have, a 2-parent household and say we got a doctor and a lawyer, okay, and suddenly they have 2 kids, 9 times out of 10, it is the woman who decides to stay home.
There you go.
And so you just removed a very high income observation in the data set. And so that brings the average down. And so it's false. It is a false positive on that one when you look at it that way.
Okay. Now, well, the second component on this one, this is the one I didn't think about, but I read about, I don't know, maybe a month or 2 ago, was the other thing where they talked about any job that has any kind of competitive or commission-based element to it is ransacked by males.
It usually is, yeah.
Well, they showed the numbers on this, and it's not even close.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just how it works.
Yeah,
right?
no, yeah.
So that's one of the things where they say, well, like for like, in this case, like this is unbalanced. I'm like, well, what can you do? Like, what are you supposed to do about this? It's like their whole job is to generate money for the company because it's what lines their pockets.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, the
whole argument, that I don't know how we got on that tangent there, but
white women,
right? So white women are your highest chunk of They represent an enormous amount of wealth in the United States, more so than your top 5%. They vastly outstrip your Bezos' class in terms of amount of liquid wealth that they have at any given point in time, just because there's so fucking many of them.
Right.
That's the thing that other people don't realize is they don't look at it. They think that 8 out of 10 people in the country are living under a bridge, and it's like, okay, so if you take 10 people, there is a half a person who lives under a bridge.
Right.
Okay, so there's another person and a half who have to live with a roommate, and then there's 6 people who live in their own home. And then there's 2 more who live in a home and or another home and maybe a yacht.
Well, okay, and again, this goes back to that stupid illustration from last week, is the guy that gets the 1 box and the guy that gets the 2 boxes. Where the question here is, all right, so by what standard is this person being built up to with the 2 boxes to make that equal? And that's where you're saying, well, all right, if you'd have asked my parents or, the generation before them, it's like, well, okay, so we do want you to have something.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Sure.
So if you are part of the bridge class, right?
The underbridges.
The underbridge class. If you're... If you're part of the underbridge class, we're like, yes, we do want something for you. So go to your local church. We're going to get you fed. Okay. We're going to find somebody. If you need clothes, we'll get you a suit. And as a matter of fact, talk to the people there. I guarantee you we'll get you a job. Right?
Oh, right now? Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Okay. So if you'd ask somebody from back then, they'd absolutely agree. All right. But the thing is, when you're talking about 1 boxes, 2 boxes, and you're trying to build that up, and you say well, you're under a bridge. Well, I guess you should be entitled to your own place, right? Well, what kind of place? Whose place?
Right,
where?
Yeah.
How much?
A penthouse. Yeah, exactly. No. It's such a bad argument, and I don't know. So,
fuck you in your box. I hate seeing that, and people saying argument done / closes
Yeah, when I haven't seen that one on the Twitter too much. So
Oh my god.
I know, man, but you hang out in different circles, and I don't follow AOC. I can't do it. So
she's just a shit stirrer. That's all she does.
Yeah, that's all she does. So
yeah, you hang around her feed and Rob Reiner's feed long enough, you'll find.
Well, you do that just to attack their fans, man.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It drives engagement.
When you go. when you go fishing, you go to a lake that you know it's got fish in it.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm not going to eat these.
I'm not going to eat these. Yeah, I'm going to throw them all back. So, look at this one. Look
I'm bad fishing too. Yeah, I fucking fish with dynamite. That's way illegal, but you get a lot. But
it's okay, Mick. You can do that in New York City, New York Harbor. Yeah. So,
all right. Okay. So before we go, all right. So how far did you make it in Starfield?
I stopped playing the main quest line, so I got to well, it was just like the day before the last time we talked. I had gotten to the one where you get attacked by the hunter, and I ran through the streets. He killed Barrett, which pissed me off.
He killed Barrett?
Yeah, he killed Barrett. So because I tried to save Walter, so.
Whoa!
Yeah, so so you could go to the eye or you could go to the lodge. Okay, and so he said, "Oh, he's on his way," and so but I didn't have Barrett was my buddy because he's got like 2 really good ship skills. So
yeah, he does.
Yeah, and so I'm a little fucking. It's okay. I have a warship, Jeff. So. It's okay. So I found other replacement people, just not as good as he is.
Well, like you actually hired.
I have hired townies. So, yeah. I have many townies. So yeah, but so I did that mission, and now I started doing just like all kinds of other shit in the game. So I've been doing the Ryujin corporate line missions. Have you done any of those?
They're so boring.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I kind of like the espionage piece. So, and I did do a couple of the, so I got busted again with contraband. So I had some pages of the Quran, stashed away. And so I got approached by Admiral Matumbo.
Yeah.
And so I started doing a couple of those, and those are very fighty missions. You do a lot of fighting in those. I haven't gone back to Ko's planet yet. So,
okay.
I'm kind of saving that one because... the Freestar Collective, the further I get to the game, the more that I start to empathize with those guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And so I've been cruising around some of their systems out there. But the last 2 days, I got in a base building again.
Why?
I don't know.
What happened to you?
So I found this really cool planet. So that had all this shit on it, and it has a really slow rotation rate. It takes like 6 months, And so if you sleep on that motherfucker for an hour, and then you get out, it's just your bins are all overflowing. And so I built a whole nother ship called the Sea Cow. So, and all it is a fucking cockpit. It's a cockpit. It's a docker. It's the ramp. Okay. And then it's just containers. It's a container ship.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
It can carry almost 5,000 items. Okay. And it's got a 5,000 cargo limit. It's got 2 little dinky engines on it. Okay. And it's got a pretty decent grav drive because you have to in order to move that much weight.
Right. And a reactor, yeah.
I built this fucking place that manufactures all these little trinkets. So like the gimbals and the fucking magnets and shit like that, which you can sell for like $20-$30 a pop. And so I'm rich, dude. I just wanted to see if I could do it.
Okay.
And so I spent the last 2 days, and I've got like my facility's got a staff, so I've got people who live there, who make it better. And I just, I'll go out adventuring in my battleship every now and then I'll park it and bust out my container ship, which looks like a fucking container ship. I mean, it's got like all the cargo. There's like a spine on the ship, and it's just bristles with cargo, and that's it, man. So, and I mean, it's the dumbest looking ship. If you were to take all the cargo off, it looked like a boned fish. So.
Okay.
It's kind of cool.
I can see it. Yeah.
So, but so I run out to my base, and I built a huge landing pad there, and I land, and then I've got this conveyor thing that actually allows me to load directly on the ship. And so I just pull up the cargo panel behind me, chick, clink them all off, and then load up like fucking 1,000 of these gimbals that I sell for like $30 a piece.
Yeah, but the problem there is that the vendor credits. So then do you want
you have to go to a couple
person?
They're like where the planet is, it's really easy access to 3 of them. So when I do one of those runs, I have to do 3. So and then you have to wait a few days so then you get the credits back.
Yeah.
So, but if you do them on the pads where you can interact with the merchant kiosk, So where this thing is, I can hit Earth, I can hit Mon Calamari or whatever it is, and then I can. I mean,
Alpha Centauri.
Centauri,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Sorry, I was crossing wires
Fucking
there.
fish people.
Fucking fish people. So yeah, and then I can go hit New Homestead and Titan, and then I can hit over to there's another one that's pretty close to that. I can't remember what it's called. So, but yeah, if like two of them are out of money, or if one of them's out of money, I got a backup one, and I can go to that one. So like yeah, so I'll go out on an adventure. I'll find a cool new gun. So or something like that. I'm like, oh fucking sweet. I want to soup this bitch up, And so, okay, I need some money in order to do that, or I'll get in a fight and I'll realize like, all right, so I'm bored with my battleship. I'm gonna build a little fighter now, and so it cost me a couple $100,000 to build that, and so I'll just do a couple cargo runs, make money, and then go back. I mean, I had no problem making money and the rest of it, so I just learned to like if you get money, fucking spend it. Like. There's no reason to hoard onto it now. And so, like I'll go to a gun store, every now and then just seeing what they have. I was like, wow, this is way better than mine, but it's like $40,000. It's like, yeah, no problem. Let me just pick that up, try it out. Yeah, this is a piece of shit. Sell it back. You just lost a lot of money, but it doesn't fucking matter. So yeah, no, I got the base thing, man. It's fun. So yeah, it's fun. I'm building an industrial powerhouse. So
that really makes sense. Yeah, that really seems like you.
That and the shipbuilding, I am so into the shipbuilding, man, that I'll like look for excuses to build new ship. Like I'll jack somebody else's ship and I'll look around it. I'll be like, this is pretty cool. Let me go see if I can make it better. So yeah, I've got like 5 ships in my inventory. So
well, you sold a bunch of them too, didn't you?
I have sold a ton of them.
Yeah.
So because I got into full blown piracy there for a little bit. So I mean, not like evil piracy, but they would jump me. So yeah. Because I did something stupid. Well, I thought this was stupid at first, but actually it's turned out to be pretty cool. I did the bounty hunter thing. So where I've got a bounty on me when I started. And so just these guys will show up and try and jack me with ships.
Oh.
So, and they don't like show up in like the fucking cantina in Star Wars. They show up in space.
Right.
And so, but the cool thing about it is that they kind of level with you. And so I have this warship. It's just absolutely it's insane, but and they'll show up and they'll try and attack me and I don't even move, because they got these little turrets on it that track them and shit. It's so much fun, man. It's like, yeah, they'll come, it's okay, so, and then the robot fixes my shields and shit, and so yeah, it's crazy, man. So I'll get back to the main story when I'm like ready for it, but after the last one, I was like, I'm not going to any more fucking temples. I'm not doing any of this shit. So I want to actually like learn how to do other shit in the game for a bit before we get to the end.
Okay, so I was doing that and I was collecting the parts and yeah, I'm further along in the story than you, and that's fine. I'll probably, try to wrap that up here in the next few days, but
okay.
Yeah, there's the thing. I reached what had to be like the stupidest thing that I've seen in a game, where I never put anything in the backpack. I never did. Because what I will say about this game is I have to give it credit. I have to give it credit for having so many traits and things to fill out, where you want to max these things out. So you do have to make choices.
Yeah,
and you do have to say like, all right, as much as I want to put something in like the skip packs and all that stuff, I can't do it right now because I want to put it in other things. So kudos to them, because I could play it. You're playing it a completely different way than I am, right? Where it comes down to it, I'm the gunsmith of the fucking wasteland.
There's some pretty awesome shit that you can build. So
eventually
it takes a while.
You have to work your way down the thing.
You do,
where you have to make sacrifices to do that. So it's like, all right, so you do that, you get this. You hold on to certain hardware, or you find certain things, you say, all right, I can soup this up, or you get something where you're like, all right, I have this, but okay, great. That's why, when it came time to go ahead and fight the hunters, I'm like, all right, well, 2 or 3 shots and you're out of the way, right?
But I hadn't done that much gunsmithing when I fought him, so I have since then, but yeah.
Well, same thing. Like, I peeled away from that big ship, right?
Mm-hmm.
You fucking took it out.
I took it out. Well, it ran away.
Well, yeah. But that's because they're gonna have a talk with you about that too. But
oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's the thing is. So I went down that route, but I never put anything in the backpack. And you get to this part in the game where you have to. Okay, there's no way around it. To do the thing, you have to cross this body of water.
Oh wow.
The problem here is if you go in the water, it makes you sick.
Oh, okay. Well, that's better than sharks. So
yeah, no sharks. I haven't
good.
found any like aquatic, problems. But the thing,
I've found sharks.
Oh, are there sharks?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, it makes you sick.
Huh.
And so, really, the only way to get across this is you have to skip over it.
Wow. Yeah, I haven't put. So I did a little bit in the backpack, but I just turned mine. It's got this medical thing that if I get below a certain level in health, it'll auto inject me. So
Okay.
Yeah, but I haven't actually. I'm still using the basic backpack. So yeah. No, like so yeah. I wish I had done a little bit more gunsmithing, but I did a lot of ship engineering. So,
Yeah, I don't have any of that.
Yeah, and that one takes a long time to get because you got to get your piloting skill up. Yeah, before you can even fly some of the better ships, before you can get some of the better pieces, and then to find the really good pieces, you actually have to go to different places because there's different places that have different pieces.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, like even within the same like line of ships, so like the same brand, sometimes you have to go to multiple star yards of that brand in order to find like some of the pieces that you're looking for. Like the badass turrets, you have to have like ship engineering 4. I still don't have that. Just to
I should
get
have
them.
don't.
Yeah, no. The first time I was like, wait a minute, what's a turret do? I was like, it tracks. It's like I don't even have to push the button.
That's amazing.
It is pretty cool, man. But yeah, there's like, the gun stuff. I didn't do anything with guns. I was just like happy with the ones that I had, that I kept finding. And then I'd find some weird guns out there, and I'd be like, man, this thing would be great with a reflex sight on it. So, but I can't do that, and I can't go buy it, and I can't pay someone to do it. So,
the one thing, okay, I will say this. So, I do like the way that it has. This is at first it seemed like a hindrance, but I was like, actually, this makes it a better game because I may go through and replay it as a different style, which I do like. It's totally just do that. I think I will be visiting Night City in between, but.
Oh yeah.
But what I will say here is,
oh yeah, I'll be doing that too.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's like go ahead and watch this. But I do kind of want to play it a different way because, like what you're talking about, they're like, yeah, the thing with the shipbuilding, like that sounds great. I can't do it now.
Yeah.
Because now at this point, I'm like at level 30, so I'm like, oh shit. I'm like,
yeah.
Now it also takes a while to get points and stuff like that, but.
Yeah, I would totally change a couple things. I would change the skill set that I start with.
Yes.
So I there's a lot of things that I put points into that I never fucking use. So
I don't sneak.
I don't sneak either. I don't.
But I have
need
a
that
point
one.
then.
Yeah, I got a point in that one. Like I put a lot of points into pistols and I never use them anymore because they suck. So. Well, the ones that I have suck, so I'll put it that way. I got this shotgun that's basically a pistol, so that
yes, you can do that.
Yeah, so I murder the fuck out of people with that thing.
No. There's great shotguns too, but I mean
I don't like. Do you have any good laser weapons? I've not found any laser weapons.
That's the thing. I have not fucked around with laser weapons. I haven't. Here's the thing: is like when you do the ballistics plus the pistols, right, or the shotguns, that kind of thing. But you basically double those factors,
right?
But with pistols, they have more types of basically like bonus attributes that are extremely conducive to stacking damage.
Okay, I haven't seen too many of those. The only one that I've gotten, so like I've like with the epic guns that I've been finding and stuff like that, you know, like. You'll find like a really good gun, but then it'll have like one attribute that just pisses you off. So like I had this one that had like hand-loaded rounds. So yeah, have you seen that one? Where the damage it distributes is random.
No.
Okay, all right, yeah. Anyway, so like that's the thing that I noticed about guns, and that's why I'm doing more like, well, it's still within a range, okay?
Right, okay,
So,
yeah.
but it goes up and down, and so sometimes you blow somebody's head clean off, and other times you're like, ow, you know? So like that's what I if I were to do it again, I do a lot more gunsmithing early on. So I would ignore all the physical skills. So I had put shit in those, but there is like so many different things in there that it's just like, actually, you know what? It doesn't matter. I don't want to learn how to make food because food is dumb in this
Food
game.
is retarded.
Food is so bad. It's basically like, okay, someone left some spaghetti out, I'll just eat it, kind of thing. But like, and then with some of the other things, like I actually did spend some time learning how to make my own medicines. So
Oh yeah.
and once you do that, they're badass.
They're great.
Yeah.
There's ways around that too. Like there's again. And so all right. The two biggest things. Yeah, you're right. Okay, food's worthless. I don't know why they're wasting so much time on that if they're going to make it such a useless.
Yeah.
Right. Because if there was something in the game where it's if you got bonuses for having clam linguine or whatever the fuck it is, right? Then I understand. If it's same thing. If I were to flip it around and say like, if you treated it on the same way as say like the injuries, right? Where you're like,
those are neat.
Well, if you eat these things, then actually these will Valheim.
Oh, right, yeah.
If there was something
That
like
would be
that
cool.
where there was a benefit to it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
But as for right now, it's just like, all right, so
Dang, Valheim's the only game that I've ever played that actually treated food seriously. So yeah,
it was a principle and
was
mixing
pretty
it
good.
and know, but yeah, if they had something like that, it'd be worthwhile. The other thing is with those mods, right? The other thing that pisses me off is the thing where it's like create 15 weapon mods. Like why? Because the thing that gets to me is, all right, so I found a way around it.
Yeah, you just pick. I've been picking up shit guns, and I just do whatever I have to do to get the like 10 or whatever I did, and then go dump them off.
Well, it's simpler than that,
Okay,
right? Because what you do is like you go to something that has like with the handle or whatever, right? You do something that has a mod and no mod.
Okay. Oh, I see.
And you just do one after the other, right? Because it counts it as doing a mod
even
each
if you
time.
take it off.
Correct.
Because I didn't even try that.
Because
dang, you're smart.
Building. Well, I was
I
like,
didn't even try that.
I was like, let me see something. So, because
I thought for sure that it would have let you do it.
So yeah, if you want to do that, because I was wasting so much time on this because like when you either don't have the stuff on hand or you're like one thing short and you're like, God, I've been holding on to this point for fucking forever because I want to dump it here. So you go in there, you're like, all right, this is not something I should have to do. Right? This is not keeping in the spirit of the game. It's not doing me any benefit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just like build site, go to no site, build site, and it's like, all right, that's
really easy,
and that's it's
okay.
As long as you have shit on hand, it's okay. You can knock it out.
Shit on hand is never a problem with me.
I don't think so. Yeah, and my whole thing is for me, it became a lot easier. Like, I can't believe at this point there are people out there still like zapping rocks. That seems.
Oh no, I gave up doing that a long time ago. Like. So first of all, I manufacture rocks now, basically. So and then second of all, like if all you have to do is just run around like one abandoned facility, and you're gonna find all kinds of shit. So
Oh sure,
or you could just go buy it.
You just go to Jonathan Mercantile and it's like it's
there's like certain things that are a bitch to find. Though.
I know.
Especially in gunsmithing, you need adhesive for a lot of stuff, and it's a bitch to find that stuff, man. So, I mean, it's like, you have this, like, really odd-the-wall, like, fucking super membrane that gets you high, but you don't have a roll of fucking duct tape.
And you don't sell that.
And you don't sell that.
You don't
sell that. Yeah.
Oh, wait, no. I bought 10 of them from you.
Right.
You won't have any more of them for, like, I don't know, 20 game days?
Yeah.
Because I just cooked through 10 of these things, and now I'm back. Can't you get these on order? Right?
I know. I'll fly over to Earth or to Mars, or wherever. Yeah.
And what's weird, I mean, that's the thing that gets to me is the game sets up this. The tutorial is all about like making you think that mining or is going to be like a part of what you do.
It's not. Yeah.
It's not. It's like
a little bit.
This seems like a really ham-fisted, dumb way to get you into this game.
I don't even carry the cutter anymore. I threw it in the box. So yeah, I mean, because I found that like you can cut those cut pins with gunfire.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like, okay, well this thing's useless because I don't use
exactly.
I don't use it to break rocks. So yeah,
right.
You know, I mean, and 9 times out of 10, if you're buying something, it's just one of those off the wall things that you can't like just normally find. But I mean, just doing missions, I mean, and so I solved all my cargo problems with my fucking, container ship. So, because it's just like, yeah, exactly. It's like, all right, so, I can throw every last rock in my pocket in this thing. And eventually when I get enough of them, I'll just sell them. So, yeah, it's, I don't know, man.
It's weird because, yeah, there are some balances here at first that I had a very, like, Kevin kind of attitude. I'm like, this is retarded. But eventually I saw that it's kind of like a check and balance. I was like, actually, this makes sense. And then there are pieces where, man, whatever staff, whatever 20 people you had on staff working on the food system, man, you should have put them on something else. You should have made it like, you could have taken these 20 people and said, can we make the sand actually look like sand instead of custard?
Right, yeah.
There were weird things where like, man, these graphics are dope. And then there are the times you're like...
The food is like, who the fuck made these french fries, man?
It's so weird. It
looks like Doritos.
Yeah, there's this weird dichotomy of like, wow, this looks super good. As a matter of fact, I love like some of the reflective surfaces, stuff like that. This looks cool. And then you look at the grass, I'm like, this is all fuzzy.
This is all fuzzy, yeah.
This is weird.
Yeah, and then like, yeah, there's just some things in the game that just, it's like, oh, come on, man, this is so like 2014.
Yeah,
graphics here. It's just like so after we talked about it last time, you got me like paying attention to the writing. It's so bad.
It's so ham-fisted.
I mean, it's just, it's like, oh my god, can you think of? I mean, I can think of about a half a dozen better ways to say this right off the bat. That actually adds a lot more nuance, a lot more depth of character, and a lot more intrigue into this than the way that you did this ham-fisted, kind of like, well, we could buy something here if we're not busy, and it's like, oh my god, you're joking, right? So the guy's frustrated with his job, okay, so, oh my god, this is so bad. I'm not even gonna do business with this guy.
No, it's not. I'm not gonna do business with you. It's. There's nothing, Patrick. Who are you?
There is one guy that I do really like. I think he's really well written. I don't know if you've met him. He's on Mars, but then he travels around after a while. He's the list guy.
The list guy.
He's got all these books piled up in front of him, and he tries to sales pitch you on this thing, but you turn out it's like an MLM, and you start working for him.
Oh, no.
This guy's fucking great. He is so cheesy. It's hilarious, but I've just known people like him, so someone nailed that guy. Because he's way into what he's doing. So
okay.
If you find that guy, I started working for him too, man. So he pays a lot of money for surveyed planets. So,
okay. Yeah. Again, that hasn't been useful to me either. But okay.
Right.
But okay. So what I will say is, if you have started to do the missions with Admiral Mutombo.
I've done 2. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Have you had to deal with the pirates?
Not yet, no. So,
okay.
Yeah.
You know that there's one thing that I hate. One thing I really hate in games, in movies, in television, and that is sassy black. And when you when you get into the pirate ship, right? And you see this game where it's like, wow, okay, so I've joked about it. It's not as bad as I say, but the white genocide, right? I've joked about this.
Yeah, it's not as bad.
When you get into the pirate place and you get the people where, oh, let me write tough, rugged people.
They're so bad. It's like you got the gun dealer on fucking New Genesis, and that's terrible. So have you been in that gun? I know you've been in that gun store. You would recognize her immediately. I can't go buy guns there because you love the guns, and it's just like I can't. Oh man, no, this one's so over the top, written so badly. I mean, I'd rather go back to, and I fucking hate the city. So, the which one is it?
The Neon place?
I hate Neon. I hate that fucking place. So, but I'll go buy guns from Snake Plissken. So,
it's just, bro, you can't understand. Like it's like turbines. My eyes are rolling so fast. They're generating like electricity for the block when you jump in there, and of course, they just can't. They can't leave it alone. It's like, all right, so we have to make the toughest people these girls who can't deliver these lines, and it's just like, ooh, oh yeah, I'm an ass kicker. Oh yeah, oh talk to me like that, honey. I'm like, oh, fuck. It's like, why do you guys? It's like, have you guys just not?
Yeah, that's why I stopped bringing Sarah around with me. I can't do it, man.
I don't know what do you mean? Like, she doesn't at least.
She's not like that bad, but you know, like her like get some lines when she's in combat.
Oh no, yeah, okay, no, I understand that. It's
I operate solo anymore anyway.
It's totally fine.
Everybody lives on my boat.
Yeah,
That's my boat.
Oh my god!
Oh my, all right, we're way over time here, man.
500 years later, and it's just sassy black women. I was like, "Fuck you." God, this is annoying.
I thought it would have been. Well, this is for another podcast.
What?
We'll come
Make
back
it
to
quick.
I got a whole bunch of ideas that I would change because this is supposedly 500 years in the future.
Or whatever, yeah.
Or whatever it is, but would be really interesting, but would really piss a lot of people off. So we'll save that for
Okay, yeah.
So,
okay.
All right. We are way over time here.
I know.
All right, I'm Pat.
I'm Jeffrey.
Hitting the button.